Welcome to CEO Insights. I'm Marilyn de Guzman with investingnews.com. I'm speaking with Paul Ténière, CEO of LaFleur Minerals. Hi, Paul.
Hi, how are you?
Good. So we're talking about your most recent press release about the plans for the Swanson deposit and the Beacon Mill. You're planning for 5,000 meters of drilling at the Swanson project. What are the specific objectives of this drill program, and what catalysts should investors look for in the near term?
Yeah, so we're coming off a fairly large exploration program at LaFleur that's been going on for almost a year. Started with airborne geophysics and then was soil geochemistry surveys and prospecting at Swanson, looking at the entire project area. So the Swanson project has grown from around 5,000 hectares to now over 166 square kilometers. So we had the idea of looking at the Swanson project in general across more on a district scale. And so as a result of all the work we've done, including recent IP surveys, we've generated several drilling targets. So we've got about over 50. We've narrowed it down to about 20, 25 holes, and we're going to be drilling those this summer. So it'll be focused on not just the Swanson deposit itself, but also on other targets such as Bartek and Jolat. And so initially it'll be, we're looking at a minimum of 5,000 meters, and that'll be spread across the entire project area. And our aim for that is to actually increase the existing resources to well over 1 million ounces.
All right. Yeah. So because you've also, like, recent exploration work at Swanson has also returned high-grade gold assay results, right? And some new potential gold targets. So we are expecting you're working towards potentially updating your resource.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. So we're looking at actually bringing in what were traditionally historical resources at Bartek, Jolat, and some other targets, and we're going to do some confirmatory drilling with this program, but also looking at potentially extending along strike and even at depth in some of these. So many of those historical resources are from 20, 30 years ago. And so part of our program is to basically bring in modern drilling and also to be able to make it so that, it's 43101 compliant when we put them into the existing resource. We have almost 200,000 ounces at Swanson, which is the main deposit. It's the most advanced part of the project. But again, we're looking at the entire project area as well as potentially doing a bit of drilling around Swanson itself to drill along strike. But that our main focus is to look at the entire project area.
Now, you've also started, you're planning for the restart of your Beacon Mill, the Beacon Mill. You've announced, you're anticipating about 5 to 6 million required to restart and improve that mill. Can you elaborate on your strategy to secure funding for this undertaking?
Yeah, and I'll just explain a little bit about what the 5 to 6 million entails. And that's a mix of work at the mill itself. And the mill has been in excellent condition. Was over 20 million was spent to refurbish it by the previous operator. And it's been on care and maintenance for a little over 18 months now. It was in great condition, but there is, of course, the mill's been shut down for an extended period of time. There is maintenance and repairs that need to be done. So we had our experts go in and actually assess the mill, look at all the parts, look at all the equipment, and look what repairs need to be done, what maintenance to be done, and extra parts required to get the mill back up and running and ramped up for production. We're looking at doing that by later this year and back in full production, if all goes well, by early 2026. The other aspect is the tailing storage facility, which is there at the site. There are some repairs that need to be done there as well. It's just mostly just maintenance and work that should have been done a few years ago, but we're going to do now, and that's also to allow us to go into full production. So that's the plan with the mill. Yes,
right. And you've also discussed in your press release about some interested parties that are already expressed interested in help in funding the development of that.
Yeah, so we have had a lot of calls. We're getting a lot of interest. It varies from on the institutional equity side, debt facility, and also streaming companies that are looking at Beacon Mill. They do see a great opportunity with Beacon. It's not a lot of mills that are available at the moment in the Abitibi. There's much larger mills owned by some of the major producers, but Many of them are, not full, but it's competitive to get into those mills, especially if you're looking at toll milling agreements. We're looking at mainly at the mill to process material from our Swanson deposit. So with Swanson, we are applying for a large bulk sample, and that's on the mining lease itself. The mining lease at Swanson's been there for many, many years, and we're providing an updated mine plan to the Quebec government, and that's going to allow us to do anywhere from 80 to 100,000 tons at Swanson. And we call it a bulk sample because it's still kind of small in size, but the point is that we'll bring that material truck it over to the Beacon Mill, which is about 50 kilometers to the south, and then process it at Beacon. But we are also looking at other options such as toll milling or other bulk samples with other companies in the region that have material available now, or may have material available in the next year or two. So many of the companies we've been talking to for financing are very interested in that. They like the idea. They see the hub and spoke model that we've built or and currently building, and see the attractiveness of that.
So, given that potential for the mill to process not just ore from Swanson, but also from other nearby gold deposits, does planning for the restart of the mill involve potential expansion of its current capacity from the current 750 tons per day?
At the moment, no. There is the option to expand the mill. Studies have been done in the past at doing that at Beacon by previous operator. By adding sort of the CIL circuit or some other larger circuits to be able to process up to 5,000 tons per day, for example. That's certainly possible. There have been cost estimates put together for that, but that is not in our immediate plan. Our immediate plan is to start small with Swanson and some other deposits. And then if another company is interested in taking on the asset or partnering with us, we could look at an expansion, but that's sort of maybe something a little bit further into the future than at the moment.
So with the goal of the full production of the mill by early 2026, what are some of the key milestones from now until then that investors should watch for that will signal the transition from development to cash flow generation?
Right. So right now we're focused on getting the financing in place, whether it's equity, debt, or some other maybe potentially streaming arrangement to fund the current ramp up. And that would be the 5 to 6 million that we mentioned earlier. It's a relatively low cost to get this mill back up and running, considering how much it costs to build a brand new mill and tailing storage facility. And also we are at the benefit of the previous work that was done to refurbish the mill. The mill was originally built in 1987. Was used sporadically, and then the last operators put a lot of money into upgrading the mill. So we're benefiting from that. So our initial startup is relatively small compared to what you might see with other companies, for example. So we are focused on that in getting that funded, and we will be having that funded, I think, very shortly. We're having some very good discussions with multiple groups. And once that's done, then we'll get started right away. We have the plan in place, and we get the contractors in place to start working on the mill and getting it back up and running. As part of that, we do have stockpile on site, so we will be able to use that material to actually test the mill, test the equipment as we ramp up into going into production and start bringing in larger samples, like bulk samples and even from samples from Swanson. So we do have that ability to do that, and so that'll be also our focus. Our other focus, of course, is to do the work on the tailing storage facility, on the tailings dams. This summer and into the fall before the winter. So it's very difficult to do that kind of work in the winter. The mill work can continue into the winter. It's indoor work, so that's not a problem. So those are our main milestones at the moment. Again, it's an aggressive timeline, but we're looking to get it all up and running by the end of this year, or at least ramping up into the end of this year, and then getting into full production by 2026, as I mentioned.
And is that simultaneously happening as you do the 5,000 drilling program at the Swanson?
Well, with Swanson, we'll be starting up very soon. We should be getting our drilling permits any time now, and so we have a drilling contractor in place for that. That'll probably be ongoing for about a 2-month program. Could be longer, depending on the results we get. We could increase the size of that. So that aspect is all fully funded by our existing flow-through funds. that we have. So that could be going on separately from the work that's going on at the mill as well. So it'll be very busy times for LaFleur. But we're excited about the prospects of, getting the mill back up and running, and putting news out about that in our progress, but also putting out drilling results, for Swanson and looking at expanding that project beyond what it is now.
Right. We're looking forward to hearing more about that in our future conversation. Thanks again, Paul, for taking the time to speak with me.
No problem. Thanks very much for the opportunity.
And thanks everyone for watching. Join us again next time for another edition of CEO Insights.